Hi, in this video we will have a look at Microsoft Power Automate community thread. So here there are two lists, list 1 and list 2, and this is a SharePoint list, and there are 3 columns in each list. The last column, which is the completed, and the status column, which is a choice data type. Okay, so here there are two values. One is called in progress and another one is called completed. So if all the tasks are completed, then this should be set to completed. Okay, and here it's pending and completed. There are two values here. One is called pending and other one is called completed. Okay, so the plan is whenever a record is added under the list 2, we need to find the user, which user it is, and then count the number of pending, and also if it's completed, it should reflect according to here. Yeah, so here in this example there are 4 pending tasks for that user 1, hence it's 4 by 4 of 4. So if one of the task is completed, then it should be 3 of 4. Okay, it's like that. All right, okay, so let's start building this flow now. And also what I did here is I did created a similar list in my environment here. So that's the list 1, and just ignore the title. So that's users table, pending task and completed, and that's the first one, users table, pending task, completed. List 2, I have got user, task and status. So if I take it to list 2 now, user, task and status. But remember I renamed the title column to user. Okay, so still the schema name, when we going to do some filtering or something, we're still going to reference the title actually, so don't get confused by that. Okay, so I'll show you that. So if I go to the list settings and under the title, see that's a column now, title. So still the schema name will be it should be the same schema name there. That's called the title there. Yeah, okay, so that is called the user actually here. All right, okay, so let's build the flow now. Okay, so remember the plan is whenever we create a new record or modify the status from pending to complete, it should trigger the list 2, find the total number of pending tasks for that user, and also the completed task also for that user, and that should reflect in list 1 actually. Okay, so our first trigger will be when a new record is added or modified in list 2. That's the plan. Okay, so for that I'm going to use the SharePoint connector, and when an item is created or modified. Okay, the next step, I'm going to add a compose and call that user here. I'll tell you why I need that in a minute. And here, remember that is the title here. Yeah, because I renamed that earlier. Oops, there are 2 mappings here. Right, title. Right, next step. So whenever a new record is added in list 2, we need to find the user. That's the reason I just added that in the compose. And then I can query the list 2 saying, give me all the user 1 or whichever that user it is for the task. Yeah, or all the records, including the completed ones also. Yeah, so for that I'm going to use get items. So again, another SharePoint connector we need, and search for get items. All right, okay, so for this get items we need to select again the same the settings as the trigger one. So the site name and list 2. Okay, now I'm going to filter for I need to find the total. So the plan is title is equal to two single quotes. Within the single quotes, I'm going to say that user. Okay, I could directly map the title I want. Okay, so this makes more readability there. That's the only reason I added that compose. Right, the next step is we want to find let's go back. So we want to find the total number of tasks is pending. So how to do that? So here I'm going to utilize the filter array here, filter array, right? Map the values coming from the get items, that is including everything we have. Remember the completed one also. Okay, so see this status column. Let me create a new record. I'll show you that. I'm not going to add the records. I'll show you that. See that pending or completed. So there are two values here. It is, yeah. So first I'm going to find the total values of the pending one. Okay, and matching with that user there. Yeah. But we are filtering with the user here. So all we need here is we need to say here item. Let me go back and show you that. I'm going to add the expression. So that's item question mark, two single quotation. Inside that I'm going to say status slash value. Place our cursor there, click OK. That is equal to, we can hard code that value now, which is pending. Because it's a choice option set, this is the format we need to do it. Yeah, item question mark status slash value. Okay, if it's a string, you don't need to do that. You can directly map the value and do it. Yeah, so that's the way you deal with that. Actually, status value here. See that status value here? I think that's the one. I just put that as a, yeah. So you can map status value. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, let me go back, remove this. You can look the let me remove that again and place your cursor here and look for the status value. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's what basically I typed as an expression. Yeah, is equal to pending. Here it is. So let me save this. So this is about update task from list to list 1. Okay, I just want a name there. Yeah, right. So let me test that. So I'm going to create test manually now. Click on test. So now flow is getting ready for the trigger now. Once that ready, then okay, it is ready now. So I'm going back to here and adding a new user here called user1. And in the task, I'm going to say task 1 and default is pending. Okay, that's added now. So let's see the trigger and the rest of the flow action steps. Okay, flow ran successfully and you can see it's filtered that pending one here. So that is correct. Now what we want is, remember, we want the total number of pending. That's where we can go back to the list one and update that. Yeah, so we want the total pending task and also total completed also. I'll come back to the completed one later. Okay, so add another compose here, right, and rename that to total pending. Always rename the combo statements. It's good practice to have that. Yeah, then again another expression we need to do here. So the expression is that's the expression we need, length of body of the filter array pending one. Sorry, I need to rename that to filter array pending. That's what we are doing there. Okay, I forgot to rename that. So that's the step name. So that means we need to find the length of the body of filter underscore array underscore pending. Because there's a space here, hence I put underscore underscore. That's the standard you need to follow here. Okay, I'll put all these expressions in my video description as well. Okay, so place your cursor here and click OK. Right, that's done. And let me run it again. So I'm going to utilize the platform test feature here. I don't need to add another record. I'm going to use the test automatically with recent trigger, and save and test. Okay, so we are expecting one now. See, that's one record there. Okay, and yeah, next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but only slight modification here actually. So let me copy to my clipboard. That's another feature from the designer. So filter array for pending, just copy that again, rename that to completed. That's another option set value there, completed. So remember, this status has got two values, pending or completed. Yeah, it's a choice field it is, and change this to completed. Here it is, and then again copy this clipboard, go back here, my clipboard, add that, expand that, rename to total completed. Here it is. And then the length, this we need to change that to the previous one, which is this is a completed one it is. So we need to change that to completed. Okay, let me remove and re-add that again. Oops. All right, okay, so that's done. So we got total completed also now. So what's next we need to do here is we need to find the total task also now. So remember, if you go back here, so that's the total task, is it? So 4 off 4, 3 off 3, like that. Yeah, so this is a total task then. So for that, it's quite easy now here. If I may take you back here, and there are different ways you can do it. Either you can add these two, or you can get the total of the total length of this listed two, then that's the total number of records. Yeah, so I'll add another expression so that you can learn another expression also here, that is called the add. So I'm going to rename that, and that is called total task. So this includes the pending and the completed one. So for that, another expression I'm going to use here is called the add. So what you need to do here is go to the expression, add that. Okay, I'll explain that in a minute. Let me add that in the note. There we go, that's the one it is. So that means add output of the total completed, that is this output, comma, output of the total pending. So that will give us the total number of tasks, or you can get the length of the get items value. That's another way of doing it. Yeah. Okay, so that's total task. Now what we want is we want to do the pending task here in this format. See, it's a specific format it is, for off 4 here. Yeah. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another compose, and again rename to pending task. Okay, and here we need to map the total pending. That's the first value. This is a total pending. So always search for output. Then you can look the right one there, total pending. See that? Then put a space, off space, and then the next one is the total task. So total task we just found now. That is this. So again, look carefully and add that. Here it is. So that's the format we want then for list 1. Yeah. Okay, the next one here is in list 1 here, it is in progress or completed. That's what it means. Yeah. So this is going to be a little bit tricky here. So we need to if all the task is completed here, we need to set that to complete. Otherwise we need to set it to in progress. Yeah. So for that, I'm going to add another compose. Remember, that's an option set value. So we are going to utilize this pending task and the compose, using these two values to go and create the list 1. That's what the plan is. Yeah, update or create, it depends. Yeah. So for that, what I need to do here is I'm going to go and rename this to call what we need to call. It's called completed here. Yeah, remember that's an option set. There are two values there, in progress or completed. So I'm going to rename this to completed. Okay, and there is another expression I need to do here, and let's explain that. That's the expression we need. Okay, so let me copy that expression in a minute. Yeah, and note. Okay, so all I'm doing here is, if you look, it's quite straightforward here. I'm saying if equals output total pending is 0 means it's completed. That's the value is going to substitute here, or else it is going to be in progress. That's the syntax you need for that. Yeah. So this way we can easily pass, all the pending task and the completed one to go and update or create this record now. Okay. So the next task is we need to go and have a look up in list one whether the user one is there or not. That's the next plan. Okay. So let me go back and add another get items. Right, so we could utilize again copy to my clipboard and copy that. So this one here, I'm going to rename this to get items list 1 it is. Yeah, right, and change that to list 1, and then we need to filter by that user exists or not. If it's not there, we need to create. If it's there, we need to update. That's a plan. So this is called users table. Okay, so let me go back to my list 1. So when I created, I put users space table. So when you do the filter query, you need to find the actual schema name. So always the best thing you need to do here is you go to the list settings, click on the users table, that column. And here in the URL, at the end of the URL, you will see that. See, that's the actual name without space. This is the one we need to use. Just see that field equals the highlighted one. I'm going to copy that. Then going back here and remove the title is equal to that user. That's all it is. So that means, we are just checking that if the user exists or not. The next thing is we can add an if condition now. Okay. So let's add an if condition, and under the if condition we could say here like length of that list 1 value. Oh, sorry, I messed up that. So I want to find the record exists or not. If it's 0, that means we need to create it. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. So let me go back here, copy that. I copied that because I need to use that under the expression. Right, length 2 bracket okay, I copied it. So let me go back to that expression again. Length, there it is. So have a look. So all I'm doing here is remove that sign there. Yeah, length of output of the get underscore list items question mark body / value. Yeah, right. Okay, is equal to 0 means that means there are no records. So what we want to do here is we need to create the list 1 record. Okay, so let's go back to the SharePoint connector and click on the SharePoint. And the action step we want is create item. Right. And this is called list 1. Right. Title is mandatory here. So right, the title is mandatory here, and let me go back. What did I do there? So settings, list 1. So there's a title here, but I'm just going to put something there. Just ignore that because it's mandatory. I should have renamed this to user space table. Okay. So for that, I'm going to just say here the same as the users table one. That's all I'm going to do here. So let me search the title, title, and that is coming from the title is coming from the user. Remember, that's a user for the list 2. That's a user. I renamed it. Remember, I told you that. So that's the value we want there. So I'm going to map that there. So title coming from the trigger actually. So ignore all that. When an item is created, that's the one I want there. Yeah. Same again here. So you can search again. Ignore all this. And I can need to get from the trigger. Yeah. Then the pending task here. So the pending task, we got the output. So look for the output here. And to see pending task, we created with that off format. Remember that. That's the one here, pending task with the off. That's one we want. Then the completed value here. So here for that, I'm going to say enter the custom value. Then under the custom value, search for the output and see the completed because it's a specific format. Remember, the reason is that's an option set value, a choice. Yeah, choice value it is. That's the reason. Single choice. Okay, that's a create. Now we need to do the same for the update also. So that means it's here. We need to say update item, and that's a SharePoint one again. So expand this. It's easy to compare that way then, and select the site name, then list 1 again. Okay, the ID, because it's an update, we need this ID here. So ID is coming from the list 1. That's where we did the query earlier. So that's the record we are going to update. So this is going to put an apply to each. Don't worry about that. That's the way the system works because it's a get items, and we know that it's going to be always going to be one record only for that user there in that, because in list 1 we are maintaining a single username only there. Yeah, so it's always going to create only one record. Again, the title again, so you could highlight this and copy it, or like I mentioned earlier, like you could use title search and getting that from the trigger value, your trigger output of that both. Then here the pending task. So if I go back and search output, you can see the pending task output we want. Then here, because it's a drop down, we need to specific format we want. Enter the custom value here. Then under the completed, again we need to search for output and look for the completed. Here it is. So I think we pretty much done now with that. Let's save that. So remember, I already created a record there in list 2, and there is nothing in list 1 yet. And what I'm going to do now is I can go and run using the test succeeded again, the last one, because I created a record earlier, remember. So I'm going to run this flow now and see it's going to work or not. So it's queried the record, and I hope that should be 0 then. And yes, it's 0, that's true. Then it's created the new record. So let me go back here and refresh the list 1 record and see what's going to happen here. Okay, so here we go. So that says 1 of 1. Oh, that's not quite right. That's not what I was suspecting. It says value in progress. Okay, let me investigate this. What's going wrong here? Okay. Okay, so I found the issue now. So I just deleted that record, list 1, which we created through the flow now. So what we need to do here is forget about what I said earlier for the completed, because it's a single choice. We can update using the text value. If it's a multiple one, I believe you need to use that format, I think. Yeah, that's what it is all about. So I got a little bit mix up there. So all we want is the if expression here. So we don't need that curly brackets, value is if and all, I explained earlier. Just ignore that. Apologize. And so this is the one we want here. So if equals output the pending value 0 means it's completed, else it's in progress. Yeah, so I'm going to run this flow now and see that's going to work or not. Okay, flow is running, and it looks like flow ran successfully. If I may take you back here, we go. That's right, that's 1 of 1. Okay, so let's go back to list 2 now. So that's list 1. Okay, I'm going to take you back to list 2 now, and I'm going to add another user 1 again, and add something called task 2, and that should be pending now. So in theory the flow should run now, and if I take back to list 1, any minute this should be 2 of 2 task is pending. Then that's the result we want to see it. It takes a little bit time to update. Let's see. Right, here we go, 2 of 2 now. Okay, so now what I will do is, let me maximize that again. Going back to the list 2 now. Okay, just assume the first task is completed now. So edit that, change the value to completed. Okay, save it. So now we should have 1 of 2 now in list 1. That's what we should expect. Okay, so let's see that works or not. So going back to list 1 now. Oops, sorry. Okay, the flow, wait for the flow to run again. Let me go back, refresh that again. No, it's not kicked out. Okay, that's done now. 2 seconds ago. Go back here, refresh this page. Hopefully that should be 1 of 2. Here we go, because 1 task is completed. Again, I can take back to the list 2 again, and I'm going to add another user called user 2 now here. So user 2, and user 2 got another task 1, and that's default is pending. And again add another one called user 2. Then again that's for the task 2 then, and that's again pending. Again add one more then for user 2, task 3, pending. So it should be 3 of 3 then. When all the flow, there are 3 triggers, it should happen now. So let's see then. Okay, so we got all those triggered now. If I may take back to the list 1 record now, list 1, that should say user. Oh, that's not quite right. What happened here then? So this is now looking user 2 here, but it did created, so that's not quite right. Okay, so let's investigate that then. What happened there then? So if I take back to this one, that's the listed 2 here, the user 2 here. Yeah, get items. So this is good actually, because it's something got wrong. This is where I generally debug it. So then title is equal to user 2, then finding the filter for the record, that's only 1 there. Yeah, and total pending, it's 3 there. And so that got 3 there now for that. Okay, I think I know what it is. So I did added continuously actually. So what happened here is it triggered 3 times, but the get items, even though it's going to be only 1, the get item says I got 3 now already in the system then, and there are 3 triggers. Okay, so that this is this is not right then, quite right, because there are 3 triggers for the same record. Then get items is going to pick immediately those 3 in bulk then. So we need to handle that. Okay, so let me think about it, what we need to do here. Okay, so I found out the issue. So what I did is I cleaned up the list, those the other user 2 records, which was not quite right. We should have only seen 1 user 2 with 3 pending ones. So 3 of 3 should have been. So what I did is, the logic is absolutely correct. So like I explained, this is more of flow is triggering 3 triggers at the same time because I added 3 records at the same time. Then what happened then is when it goes to the get items, it's going to get 3 records. So that's going to mess up the logic then because of the trigger it's coming up. Ideally the trigger should come up only one at a time. So what we need to do here is we need to go back here under the settings and turn on this was off earlier. So if it's off means it should run as many possible at the same time. That's what happened. So our logic won't clearly work with the get items. So in these situations, what you need to do here is you should turn on the concurrency control, and by default I think it should be more than 1 here. So always go back to degree of parallelism to 1 then. So that means only one trigger should work at the same at a time, and others will be queued but it won't be running it. One at a time only it will run. So make sure this should be turned on and set it to 1 then, and click done and save the flow now. Then now what I'll do is I'll go back to the list 2 now and create the same scenario now. So I'm going to quickly add user 2 task 1 pending. Next one I'm going to add user 2 again, task 2 pending. So this is what I did earlier. Again I added one more, user 2 task 3 pending. Here it is. So we should see in list 1, we should only see user 2 with 3 of 3 tasks as in progress. Okay, so let's go back and see the flow, how it runs. If you keep refreshing here, you should be able to see here now you can see waiting and succeeded, then the waiting will convert into in progress. Yeah, because we set the concurrency one. So this is a good problem to have it, because this is where you solve in these situations, flow to take care of those logics. Yeah. So let's keep refreshing it. We should expect any minute 3 triggers, which I added earlier for the user 2 then. There we go. So you can see here running. It's run only one at a time, only that. So if I refresh that, all of them ran. Now if I go back here to list 1 again and refresh, here we go, only 1 record and 3 of 3 in progress. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the user 1 and change one of the pending tasks to complete also. So let's see then. So when I said that pending task, it should be 0 of 2, and this should say completed as completed there instead of in progress, because all the tasks are completed. Yeah. So let me find the user 1. The first task is completed. So this one here, I'm going to set this to completed and save the record. Okay. So go back to list 1 again. So any minute this should turn into 0 of 2 because everything is completed, no pending task, and then this should show as completed. Okay. Right, flow ran successfully, and let me refresh it. There it is, 0 of 2 completed. So this is where you update from list 2 to list 1, and again we faced some good problems to have. One is that multi-select. I got confused a little bit about that. That's my side of the knowledge it was, so I got mixed up. So all we need is the text, that's all it is, so it will automatically update it. If it's a single choice, multi-choice, I think you need a different format. And then here again we found out that for the current trigger, whenever the list 2 is getting added too many times, because our logic is get items to find the total number of tasks, and we need to queue the other ones. So remember that. So for that, the key thing we need to understand here is go to the settings and go to the trigger settings, and turn on the concurrency control to limit to 1 actually there. That's what we need to do. Okay, hope this is useful. Thank you for watching.